Are you ready to begin?
Yes.
All right. First of all, I want to thank you for your time to do this video with me. I'm sure it will be very helpful for everyone who will be watching this video in the future. Can you tell me a little bit about what your hobbies are and things that you like to do outside of work?
So I think outside of work, I mean, I really like to play some sports, watch sports. I think that's a big passion of mine.
Let's imagine that you are building a sports product
Hmm.
for Facebook. What
Okay.
would you build?
Yeah, sounds good. That makes sense. I do have a few clarifying questions. I'm going to assume that I'm a Facebook PM. Is that a
Yes.
fair assumption?
Yes,
Okay.
let's assume you work as a PM at Meta and you're
Okay.
building a sports product.
Is there like a particular insight or like a trigger on why we want to do this at this point? Is there like some guidance from the executive management?
The company feels that sports would be an impactful area with a lot of potential.
Finally, I think I just also wanted to know, are there like any constraints I need to be aware of in terms of funding or what's really the timeline here for, say, an MVP?
No constraints.
Okay, sounds good. I think those are all the questions I had. Give
Okay.
me some time to formulate my thoughts on how I want to approach this question, and then I'll let you know how I want to go about this. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
So, so I would like to first start by exploring a bit on why I think this is a good idea for Meta or Facebook to build this sports product. Then I will brainstorm some user groups, pick a segment, look at some pain points or problems, prioritize one or two, and then come up with solutions. And if we have time, I'll also look at the metrics. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So let's start with the why. I think first of all, Meta's mission is to help people connect together and build a community. So if you think about it from that angle, if building a sports product is a fit with the mission, I think it's a really good fit because sports, especially watching sports, is all about building community. I mean, you have a lot of people who connect over like their favorite sports, even though they don't know each other. They form interest, and then many times I've seen that based on this interest in the sports, they actually end up forming real life friendships and real life connections as well, which
Yeah.
I think all of it helps, bring the world together. So in that sense, I think fit with the mission, it's a really good fit for Meta. Also, if I look at like whole Meta as a company, where it is at the moment, I think right now it's actually doing better than I would say it was probably 6 months or a year back when there was a lot of competition from TikTok and short form video, and there was like a lot of focus on how Meta can handle the TikTok threat and at the same time look at the revenue challenges that came up because of the AT&T privacy feature from Apple.
Mm-hmm.
I think right now, a year back, they're doing fantastically well. I think they have actually gotten around that and they figured out a way for advertisements post the ATT world. So I think the point I'm trying to make is focusing on building like a new product on sports that essentially helps build the community is not going to be a distraction at this point of time for Meta.
That sounds good.
Because yeah, okay. So I think that makes sense. So I think this is a good thing for Meta to build. What I'm going to do now is try and come up with a product mission for this sports product that the Meta or Facebook is going to build. Just
Okay.
give me a few seconds here.
Yeah.
So I think a good mission for this could be connecting over shared interest in sports and building a community. I think is a mission that I basically think is very close to Meta's mission, and at the same time, we want to do that by focusing really on sports.
Okay.
Okay.
Makes
All
sense.
right. All right. Give me some time. I'm going to look at a few user segments that we really want to be looking at this, and I'm going to pick one. Give me a few
Okay.
seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there are many ways to essentially, if you go by the user segmentation, you can look at it from a demographic point of view. from what stage are they in the life, whether it's married, retired, and also what is the need. I typically like to focus on what is the motivation and need of the people, because I feel like that essentially has more opportunity to enable people across different demographic groups to connect. So, in
Okay.
that sense, I can think about three segments. The first one I'm thinking about is really sport enthusiasts, who are like, you can think about them like power users that really like a sport, whether it's basketball or football, who want to essentially connect over knowing the advanced features of the game. For example, what I mean by that is like, if you are a basketball fan, for example, you really want to connect not just over the basic stats like say points or rebounds, but you really want to go look at the field goal percentage that you have. What are the different areas from the field where you're like really hitting the basket? So essentially connecting, over these advanced nitty gritty of the game that only a sport enthusiast will know.
Okay.
So that's one segment. The second segment I can think about is on the opposite spectrum. You're like talking about novices who are really new to the game, and they really want to like essentially learn more about the game. And this could be both in terms of learning how to play the game, or also about learning how to understand the game, and so they can slowly build up their knowledge about the game. So that's the second segment I'm thinking about. And then the third segment I'm thinking about are essentially fans of a particular team. Let's say Golden State Warriors. These are all the fans that you have who are present, say, in the Bay Area or outside of the Bay Area. But their goal is that they want to like band together so they can watch the games together, even travel together to the different venues across US when their favorite teams, are playing. So I think these are the three segments that I can think about. Let me know if you have any questions. If not, I'm going to pick one of the segment.
No question.
When I want to pick one of the segments, I think the rubric I want to really use is what is the size what is the size of each of this group, what impact we can make to this segment, and how closely are we aligned to the mission.
Okay.
Okay, I would like to pick the novices who want to really learn the games, and my reasoning is that from a size point of view, they are the probably the largest in size. I mean, not everyone is a sport enthusiast or like a fan of a team. There are many people out there who know somewhat about sports, but and they want to learn more about it. So I think from a size point of view, I would say that. The novices are probably the biggest in size. And then from an impact point of view as well, if we can actually uh, convert these novices into say sports enthusiasts or really following the games, I think that's a lot of impact we can make in these people's lives, just because many people want to learn about games, but they're necessarily not aware of what's the best way to go about and essentially learn more about those games. And then I think in terms of alignment to mission as well, this would be a good fit because Meta is all about connecting people over shared interest. And if we can connect the maximum number of people over that shared interest in sports and help them learn games, I think that will align well with our mission as well.
Got it.
Uh, Let me know if you have any questions.
One question. So these people want to learn more about a game so they could do what?
Yeah, so they can essentially better follow the game, or in some cases actually also learn how to play the game as a hobby.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay.
All right, so I'm going to pick this group here. Now I'm going to be thinking about what are some of the pain points. So give me some time to formulate my thoughts here.
Okay.
So the particular use case I want to pick here is like novices who are learning the game, so they can actually play it in real life as their hobby. So I think that's the use case I really want to focus on. And if I look at from a user journey point of view, I think the first step really, if I want to learn a game to play as a hobby, is I need to identify what is a good game for me to essentially learn how to play based on my interest and also my current physical level fitness. I think that that's a key thing. And then once I identify the game, then I want to learn how to play it and then find the right people to play with as a hobby in the real life who share the same interest as me. And when I play, I essentially play the game, and then at the end probably it's going to be like I want to share what I have done, with the other people, and with the intention of like just making me feel good, and at the same time also maybe motivate some of my other friends to essentially come and play. So I would say this would be the user journey. And if I look at some pain points along the way, I think the first step is really the this as many people have, the inertia is high during rest. So the first step itself is like finding out what is really the right game for me. That could be a pain point because there are like hundreds of games there or sports that you can play. So how
Mm-hmm.
do I identify the one that is something that I can really play well, that I can potentially be good at? Because what you see with sports is, and many things in life is, if you pick something that is too uncomfortable, you tend to drop off really soon. And when you want to build a hobby, that's not what you want. So I would say one of the pain point is identifying the right game is hard. I would say
Mm-hmm.
that's the pain point. And then once you've identified the game, as you progress, then the question is, how do I best learn this game? And for that, I think you want to finding the right community or the right coaching center where you can actually learn about this game. I think that's also a pain point.
Mm-hmm.
And then finding a good coaching community is there, but when you're looking at it, you also want to make sure that you have a good set of community who can keep you accountable, that you can find at that particular coaching center. And I think that's also an important pain point. So the two pain
Mm-hmm.
points really are identifying the right game is hard, and then finding a good coaching place with a good community, I think is key as well.
Yeah.
So that is something that is a problem as well. And then once you start playing, you do want to essentially track your progress, right? I mean, yes, you're doing it for a hobby, but if you feel like you're not really getting better at it, you can be demotivated and you can essentially stop, playing this game or learning about this game. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we want like so I guess the pain point here is that how do I know that I am like making constant progress? So I think that's a big pain point as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so these are like really the three pain points I'm thinking about. Let me know if you have any questions. If not, I'm going to prioritize one.
No questions.
All right, thank you. Give me some time to select one of those pain points here.
Okay.
So when I select one of those pain points, I think the rubric I really want to use is how severe is this pain point, and are there really any other alternatives that can be used, to get over this pain points?
Mm-hmm.
With that in mind, I think finding a right coaching center with a good community, I think is the pain point I want to go after. Just because I think from a severity point of view, um, even if you find, let's say, identify a game that you can play, if you're not finding the right set of coaches and the right set of people to play with, you're going to drop off. So I think from a severity point of view, this is really high.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I really want to see what we can do from a Facebook point of view to go after this. And really, there's no good alternative as well. I mean, for example, to identify a particular game, you can talk to your friends, you can talk to your family members who know you well, and you might be able to essentially identify one or two games that you can really play. But finding a good coaching center, I think you have to rely on reviews, which might not always be applicable to you based on what's your sort of personality and stuff. Reviews will definitely give you an idea, but at the end you have to like try this in reality to essentially know if this is a good fit for you. So in that sense, the alternatives are not that strong.
Mm-hmm.
And the third thing is Meta's mission is all about building a community. So encouraging people to go out there, play in the local community is a great fit with Meta's mission as well. So I'd like to focus on this pain point. Let me know
Okay.
if you have any questions.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Give me some time. Let me quickly think about some solutions for this.
Okay.
So I can think about three solutions here. The first one is an addition to, say, the Facebook groups feature, where typically you have a lot of sporting groups on Facebook. You can actually, add like an include like a sign up to essentially join like a particular sports group. What I mean by that is like you have these groups that are focused on a sport, and if you really want to join that group, you can join that group, and in that group we can have a feature where we encourage people to essentially sign up on learn how to play.
Okay.
Hey, Nancy, can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I
Okay.
can. Sorry, I lost you there for a
Okay.
bit. So I think that's the first solution there. The second one I'm thinking about is really like a wizard on Facebook page where you go in as a person. You basically enter all of your interests, the game you like. What are you looking for in like a specific coaching center, and not just like the requirements for the coaches, but also the type of people essentially that you would like to play with, where they are, especially in learning the game stage, and what age group they are in, and what sort of locality. You input all this information, and then the wizard actually gives out a list of coaching center that it recommends based on the information you have entered.
Okay.
And then the third thing is, based on your profile and based on your interest, Facebook also already has a lot of ideas about what you like. So we can use maybe like an AI based solutions to recommend the different types of coaching centers that would essentially be applicable to you. Based on the different interests that you have already specified on Facebook related to sports. It can even recommend you what sport you want to play based on how well it knows you. And it can recommend the sports, it can recommend the right coaching center, taking into account where you are, what are your interests. And it can go a step further and it can also recommend people that it recommends you can partner with to go and play with these games. And this people could be from your friends list or your connections of your friends, or we could just use AI to essentially come up with random people even outside of your Facebook friends group, if Facebook thinks that you're really going to enjoy their company and learn the game. So these are the three solutions that I can think of. Let me know if you have any questions. If not, I'm going to identify one solution.
Yeah, no questions.
Okay. So what I'm going to really use criteria to pick the solutions is, I'm going to see which solution gives the maximum impact to the users. What's the alignment with Meta's mission? And then I'm going to talk about some feasibility and any risks that I see in the solution I pick.
Okay.
That sounds
Yeah.
good. Yeah. All right. Give me a moment here. Okay, I'd like to pick the AI recommendation solution, really, and the reason for that is this can make the biggest impact on the users, because as a user, I really don't have to do any work here. Facebook does the work for me, and it recommends people and the type of game and the coaches I want to play this game with. I think that's going to be a big impact to the user. From Yeah, go
Any
ahead.
risks you see associated with this solution?
Yeah, I think the biggest risk really is the privacy that I can think about. Maybe not everyone would want to essentially is very happy that Facebook is actually recommending things without their approval. So I think we could probably mitigate this by adding an option where people need to opt in to this particular feature, and that's when we basically show them what's really going on, and the type of coaching they want to be part of. So I think that's a risk I really see. is really the privacy risk. Because I think in terms of feasibility, Facebook has already built so much infrastructure in AI that I think it can leverage for this feature. So really, it's the privacy risk that I can think about.
Got it.
Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. If not, I'm going to look at how we can measure success for this particular solution.
No more questions, but maybe we could start the debrief now.
Yeah, perfect. Let's go
Great.
for it, Nancy.
Well, first of all, thank you for that exercise. I know it's a lot to to go through a case study on your own like this. Well, not really on your own, with a stranger. In this case, the stranger is me. So I just want to recognize that,
Mhm.
and I see you. I see the hard work that you're doing. So thank you for doing
Thank you.
that. So how do you feel right now after going through that exercise?
Oh, I think I was pretty rusty. So I'm not sure that I was able to get all the insights that I really wanted. So that's my opinion.
What do you mean by rusty, and what do you mean by all the insights that you wish you were able to come up with?
Yeah, so I think the pain points that I came up with, I don't know, they seemed okay, but I'm not sure if they were like one level deep, as usually they say you need to be. So maybe that was my biggest thing is like because I was so rusty, my
Hmm.
brain was giving me the obvious pain points and wasn't like I wasn't going to the next level.
That makes sense to me because I felt the same way. What I would say is I really liked your structure. It was very easy for me to follow, and I loved that you told me the different rubrics that you were using for every single decision that you were making.
Hmm.
That was all really, really good. So stick with those and keep doing that. What I would
Hmm.
say to make this better is let's also talk about the why behind sports. So you talked about the why from Facebook's perspective because it makes sense for Facebook, it aligns with their vision, aligns with Facebook mission, and it's good time, etc. That's all from the Facebook point of view. What about the why from the user's point of view? Why would users be open to using Facebook for their sports needs? And one level higher would be, why do people like sports? What feeling are they after? And when we talk about sports, what does it actually mean, right? So now we're talking about really high level stuff. I would spend more time there. And that's actually pretty important for uh, candidates who are more senior. So the
Hmm.
emphasis would be in the first half of the interview, especially for more senior candidates, compared to the second half of the interview.
Got it.
Does that make sense to you? How is that landing?
Abs- no, no, absolutely. It makes total sense. It's not just from Facebook, it's the why from a user's point
Hmm.
of view as well, which is super
Yeah.
critical. Yeah, okay.
And then next, we talked about the user segmentation, and you came up with three very reasonable, very logical segments. What I
Mhm.
would recommend for this particular phase of the breakdown is the space of sports is actually very, very big
Mhm.
beyond the power users, beyond the people who might want to learn how to play a game, and also beyond fans of a team.
Mhm.
For example, there are kids in schools who are learning sports. They have
Mhm.
specific needs, right? There's soccer moms that have specific needs. There's businesses that are associated with sports, maybe selling merchandise, maybe selling tickets to events, maybe a sports bar. Right? Those are the business use cases. And there's also another example of a business would be streaming, the companies
Mhm.
that stream sports games, and then of course the athletes themselves. Whether you're a professional athlete or you're not, you're pretty good as an athlete. You just don't do it professionally, but maybe you're a coach, right? Or
Yeah.
maybe you used to be a professional and you retired and now you're still active in the sports community. maybe you
Hmm.
became an influencer of some sort, right? So the space is huge. I
Right.
would
Right.
spend a lot more time talking about the space. And when the space is so big, the prioritization becomes the hardest part of this particular interview.
Right.
Yeah, that would, if there's only one takeaway from this conversation, it
Mhm.
would be this aspect, which is
Awesome.
really looking at the space. It is huge. So, how we segment, how we pick is
Hmm.
the interview. And
Interview. Really.
after you pick in the
Mhm.
most strategic way possible, then everything that follows is, it's
Yeah.
not really the interview anymore because you've got it.
Got
You know what I mean?
got it. Got it. Yeah. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
The question I asked you in this conversation was, for the people who are new at games,
Hmm.
I asked
Hmm.
you, why do they want to learn so that they could do
Hmm.
what? That is a
Right.
signal saying there's, and then you said maybe they want to play a game or maybe they want to watch a game. The solution, though, was more on playing the game and
Hmm.
not really learning how to watch a game. So
Right.
that is just saying, yeah, because the space is so big, you
Mm.
have to pick a focus. But you didn't specifically pick the focus of learning how to play a game. You just kind of serendipitously ended up there. So
Hmm.
that's where you could
Okay.
spend more time on refining it.
So basically, go broad on the user segmentation, and then like pick a very narrow segment, or a narrow segment, and focus essentially,
Yes,
right?
and picking the segment is the hardest part of
Mm.
this interview.
Okay.
And when we pick, obviously, we have to pick from the user point of view and also from the company's point of view. And that
Hmm.
is where we look at what is Facebook doing right now, who are the competitors. If Facebook focuses on this particular segment, does it help Facebook be stronger in the market or in the industry? What does focusing on this segment do for Facebook?
Mm.
Right? So there's
Yeah.
also a strategic angle to it that you could use in your rubric. And then at the end, when we wrap up, let's go back to the overall feeling that we identified earlier. Remember up front, I asked, in this debrief, I said, what are people really after when they're thinking about sports or watching sports or doing sports? What is that feeling that they they are after? Is it being healthy? Is it entertainment? If they're watching a game, is it connecting with people? What is that feeling that we identified upfront? At the end of the exercise, let's remember and double check with this solution. Does it help people get that feeling that we said that they're after?
Right.
That's just kind of like a
Right.
double checking thing that we could do. And oftentimes at this stage, because we spent a good 30 minutes on the case study, most of us probably already forgot what we said earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So this part is kind of something that we need to get better at building
Mhm.
it into our muscle memory so that we remember to circle back.
Got
Any
it. And that
question?
makes total sense. No, no, no. I think that's really good. Thank you. Go broad on the users, and then like that's pretty much most of the interview,
Yes.
especially if you're going for higher
Yes.
level
Yes.
levels. Then yeah,
Yes.
okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and I totally missed like talking about the stakeholders as well. Usually, I talk about the
Hmm.
stakeholders for the users, and then I pick like the
Yeah.
segments. But I think I really jumped into the segments really.
What do you mean
So
by the stakeholders?
so usually, like for example, if it's like a marketplace, right? You have the creators, you have the consumers, and then I basically talk about if it's say you're building sports, then as you said, there are the streaming
Hmm.
companies, there are the sports team
Yeah.
owners, for example, right? All those kind of people,
Yeah.
right? I talk about all that, and then like say if I pick consumers, I'm going to then pick consumers and then go find segments in those consumers, for example.
Hmm.
In this case, consumers would just be the people who are like say the actual users who want to do something with sports,
Right.
not the companies, for example.
Right.
Thank you, Nancy. This is super helpful.
Great.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it, and yeah, I mean, I look forward to working with you more. I know you have a few
Yeah, I
programs,
do.
so
Yeah.
I do. So definitely looking forward to see how I can be a part of that.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay.
Well, again, I just want to thank you for taking the time to do this video with me that will